Hello, everyone. Welcome back to NRCAL's Educational Technology webinar series. I hope you're all doing well and enjoying this summer. We have Dr. Hue-An Wren with us again, and she will be presenting on Book Creator. And this is the first tool of the series on fostering creativity with multimedia projects. Before we begin, I'm sure you've memorized the announcements by now, but I will go over them again. The webinar will be recorded and it's for educational purposes only. If you would like to view the past webinars, you can always go to our website, NRCAL, fullerton.edu/NRCAL, and go to the distance learning tab. And all past webinars, recordings, and PowerPoint slides will be there for you to access. The webinar feedback form, I will share the link with you at the end of the webinar. And that's it from me. Okay, Hue-An, please go ahead with the presentation. Oh, can you turn your mic on?
There we go. I always feel the same way. I always feel like I'm repeating myself a lot as I'm presenting, but then I have to remember that there are people who were not at our presentation before. So for those of you who are my regulars, I know there are a handful of people here that have been at every single one, and Minhee, maybe we should get a punch card or something so that we can get you a nice little coffee for being at every single one of our webinars. I thank you for that, and I am deeply honored that you are willing to take your time to come out and do this. But so for those of you who are new, my name is Hue-An Wren, and I am this is going to be the first of 3 webinars. We've already done quite a few on different educational technology practices that you can use in the classroom. So what I'd like to do today is I'm going to be sharing my audio, so I want to make sure that I don't blast the sound too loudly. But we're going to be talking about Book Creator today. And Book Creator is a tool that I really do like. It's one of those tools that is very universal, very easy to use, lots of accessibility tools embedded into the tool. So let's get on our way. So as we're talking, I told you earlier, my name is Hue-An Wren. I am a TOSA in the Garden Grove Unified School District, for those of you who are familiar with this area. I work as a teacher on special assignment, which means I was in the classroom, and now I focus all my time and energy on educational technology practices and how to support our teachers when they are looking to do that with their students. So I don't have a school site with students per se, but I have 65 schools that I get to go to test all these wonderful, cool new technology applications. I'm also a professor here in Cal State Fullerton in the Masters in Educational Technology program, which I love and adore. And then I'm also a professor at UCI in the admin credential program. So if you're looking to get an admin credential, you'll see me over there teaching technology over there. So as you know, this is a huge passion of mine. I am very lucky to have found something that I can work in, but I also do find passion in. So I'm very, very lucky. We have been off of school for a week now. We got out of school last week, so I am technically on summer vacation. Wanted to see where you guys are at. So most of you, I'm actually, I didn't get a chance to share the link to today's presentation. I am going to put the link to today's presentation in the chat box. And when I do that, it will actually activate the chat box for you. For those of you who are familiar with Zoom, and I'm sure you are all zoomed out, I will be using the chat box to send links. I will be using the chat box to send any, questions that you may have or anything like that, and have private conversations with people to help people out. So please activate that that chat window. If you go in there now, you'll be able to see the link to today's presentation. If you'd like to join me on the presentation, by all means, please do so. I do ask that if you have questions, please go ahead and ask them either in the group chat, or you can, raise your hand, or I guess you can interrupt me or have Minhee interrupt me. She's really good about waiting until a nice breaking point before I get to answer some questions. But a lot of the stuff that you'll be learning today is technical, where I'll be walking you through some of the products. So Since I am in full summer mode, I was wondering where you guys are at. Are you on summer break right now? So in the chat box, tell me where you are at. Are you a 1, a 2, a 3, or a 4? Are you a 1 where it's still in school and you're just finishing up grades and you're trying to figure out why your students are handing in everything right now? Are you a 2 where you're done with grades and you're just kind of enjoying those last few days with students? Are you a 3 where you literally just finished? You're still trying to catch up on sleep. You're super tired. Or are you 4 where you've been on vacation for a little bit, you've been enjoying yourself, trying to take some me time and enjoy actual summer break? Oh, so I see a lot of 3s, huh? So most people are just now finishing. I know that feeling of relief when we get done and we get that summer break. I don't think people who are not teachers do not understand how much work we do. I read in an Instagram post a long time ago that teachers get summers off because we do a year's worth of work in 10 months. So we work extra hard, and that's why we get the summers off. So just a thought as you're enjoying. So I'll let a few of these trickle in as we go through, but let me move on to why we focused on creativity for these last few seminars. Creativity is one of our 21st century skills. It's important, it's considered a soft skill, and it's very hard to test. So when you're thinking about like smarter balance and standardized testing, you're not going to see questions on creativity because you can't grade it. You can't get 3 million students to take a test and grade something and decide whether or not it's creative. But it's such an important skill that the World Economic Forum has declared that it is a growing number 3 skill for 2022 outlook. Now, this study was done in 2018, right? This was the forum which was done in which convened in 2018. But 2022 isn't that far away. And you look at the skills that are growing, right? Analytical thinking, creativity. And the reason why I think creativity is so important for our students is that because of technology, our world is changing faster than we can keep up. It used to be that we as teachers, when we taught our students how to do something, we would teach things that we knew they were going to need. We know you're going to need to know, if you look back in the day with apprenticeships and so forth, I know you're going to need to know how to do this stitch over to this side, because when you become your own tailor, you're going to need to know how to do this skill. This is what it is. But I can't teach all of my students a skill that they're going to need because I don't know what it is. Just think about what the world looks like now. I remember, and I'm going to date myself, I remember when cell phones first came out. I remember that. I remember having a beeper. I remember when beepers first came out, and so that's one of those things where I'm like, how do I teach my student a skill that I don't know is going to be there? Because whatever I teach them now, they could probably, the skills that we were taught, they are able now to Google, right? They can just go to Google and find it, or YouTube, it's one of those things where you don't know. So what you do is you teach skills for problem solving, creativity, analytical thinking, so that no matter what problem they come up with, they will be able to find solutions. That's what we need, is we need thinkers, we need innovators, we need creative people. And so with the opportunities for our students to create, we are creating that type of thinking in our students so that they can succeed no matter what job they choose to have. So I'm going to show you a video of John Spencer, who is quite an avid thinker, about his take on what creativity is. And this is a wonderful video for you to even show, if you have older students. The younger students, it might be too fast, but for older students, this might be something to help them understand that, because some kids go, I'm not creative. I can't do it. I'm not creative. This is a wonderful video for students to help understand what makes them creative. So Minhee, if you could help me with the audio, if it's too loud.
When you hear the word creative, you might think of a painter, or a playwright, or an author, or a photographer, or a filmmaker, or a chef. In other words, you might think of people who make things. I think it's what we mean when we use a label like creative type. But there's no such thing as creative type. We are all creative, every one of us. We just need a bigger definition of creativity. Yes, creativity involves making things, but it can also mean mashing up ideas in innovative ways. It can mean thinking differently about data and finding unique solutions to practical problems. It can mean hacking systems and tweaking things in unusual ways. It can mean exploring ideas and navigating information until you become an expert curator. It can mean designing systems that empower the creative work of others. It can mean creating change in the world by speaking truth and leading movements and interacting with people. See, each of these creative approaches shape our world in profound ways. And the more we see the creativity all around us, the more we are able to appreciate the creativity inside ourselves.
John Spencer is a wonderful creative thinker, and he does a lot of public speaking on education and education reform. So he's just a great way of making us really see and understand the concepts that he's talking about. And I like his take on creativity. It makes it easy to understand and makes it seem like we all are. And I never thought of myself as a creative type. I never thought I was innovative, or I never thought I was one of those people who could really design anything until I got accepted to be a Google certified innovator. The label says innovator, and there's, you know, and there's only a few people who are picked to be a part of that cohort, and you have to prove yourself to be innovative. And I've never thought, I've always liked my very much organized and rows and so forth, but it's just the way you think that makes things creative. So how do we foster that in our students? Well, that's how we bring Book Creator in. Book Creator plus the next two applications that we're going to go over for the next two series. But Book Creator is the first one we wanted to go with, just because it's a phenomenal tool. So right now, let's see where you guys are at with Book Creator. Have you used it? Have you heard of it? And here on a scale of 1 to 10, 1 being that you've never heard of Book Creator before, this is something that is brand new to you and you're just along for the ride and learning about new ed tech tools. 5, you've heard of it, but you've never actually implemented it, or you've seen other people implemented it, but you yourself have never done it. And 10 is you use it in your classroom and you love it a lot, and you could probably help me with the presentation today if you've used it before and you've used it so many times. So give me a number in the chat box of 1 to 10 on whether or not you've used Book Creator. And by doing this, it helps me see in the audience how quickly or how slowly I can move my presentation. So by you telling us, then I can help move the presentation along more quickly if I need to, or slow it down if I need to. And of course, as we're presenting today, please let me know if you want me to stop, or if you want me to slow down and show something else again. I'm happy to do that for you. Okay, so we have a lot of people who have never heard of it, and then a handful of people who have heard of it but have never actually used it. Great. Today I'm hoping that you will be able to get in and actually play with the tools so that you can learn how to create your own Book Creator. So Book Creator creates ebooks. That's all it does. And the beauty of having an ebook, the purpose of technology is to enhance learning, right? We can sit all day long and we can create books using a piece of paper all day long and just write and write. It's actually quite cathartic right now to be doing journaling and drawing and handling. But what technology does is takes it up a notch and allows you to add media. Now you can add photos. Now you can add videos. Now you can add voice and audio. So with Book Creator, not only do you have a beautiful piece of paper that's a book, but you also now have a multimedia ebook that plays videos when you want it to, where you can add all sorts of other rich assets to the book. So some samples here. Book Creator from the classroom. These are ways that I've seen Book Creator used. Some of these were given to me from our friends at Book Creator. Some of these were given to me by other teachers in the classroom. In a little bit, I'll give you a chance. These are actually all linked to books that people have created. So you'll be able to see all the different things that they've done with this book. So this is a core vocabulary lesson. This is, these are a whole folder of ways that students have demonstrated mastery, meaning they understand the concept and now they're gonna show you what they know. Here are some speaking and listening activities that were from YouTube that we see books that are published, like movies, 15 ways to use Book Creator for reading responses. So after they're done reading, they go into Book Creator and they respond to the reading assignment. Supporting language learners with Book Creators, some strategies for you to use with students who are language learners or for dual immersion programs, which seems to hit it right on the nail for this particular webinar, right? But these are all different resources and literally books that you can read about all these different ideas. And later we'll have an opportunity to go through here and you can explore at your convenience which books you want to take a look at. I did pull some language books here. So you can see some of these language books. This is from Book Creator, and this is a whole library of students who created books and teachers who created books, all sorts of different types of books. So it's a really nice way of just being able to see. So I think, let's see here if I can pull something that's done by a student. Here we go. I want to be able to show you student work. All right. Here's a student work. Oh, it's Vietnamese students. So
Sơn Tinh, Thủy Tinh làm bởi Bảo Nguyên, Bảo Ngọc, Minh Khôi.
okay, those are the students that wrote this book. Okay, and this is their writing and their translation.
Một hôm có hai chàng trai đến xin ra mắt nhà vua để cầu hôn. Một người ở vùng núi Ba Vì tuấn tú và tài giỏi khác thường, chỉ tay về phía đông biến thành đồng lúa xanh, chỉ tay về phía tây mọc lên hàng dãy núi. Nhân dân trong vùng gọi chàng là Sơn Tinh.
Okay, so they created the book. They put in the text, they inserted the image, and they added the audio. They recorded the audio and they added it on. This red part, the translation was done by the teacher before it was sent through. So you can see what they did through here is they went in and they added all these pages and they created it. A wonderful, wonderful way of integrating media into Book Creator. So that's one of the reasons why Book Creator is so powerful. It has the ability to add media. And because it's so flexible, you can do it on a computer, you can do it on an iPad, you can do it on a phone, you can do it on a Chromebook, you can do it on so many different technology tools that it makes it very flexible, and it looks the same on all of them. So if you go into iPad and you go into a Chromebook, it looks exactly the same. So the learning for the teacher and the student isn't quite as difficult when you transition from one to the other. Keep in mind that Book Creator is what we like to call freemium. That means it has a free and a premium. There is a free set of tools and there's a set of tools that you can do where it costs a little bit more money. Right here is the link to where you can find out what pricing looks like. But I will show you today what we have been able to do in our district with just the free version. We don't have schools that purchase the paid platform, and actually they are offering the paid platform. Well, they were offering the paid platform for COVID-19 for the end of this year. So I know that that's expired. But it's something that we were able to use, but we never needed it until then. So it's a really nice feature to have. So on Book Creator, oh yes.
Sorry to interrupt,
okay.
we had 2-3 questions on that.
Oh yes, I completely missed those. Sorry, go ahead. So Jasmine asked if the educator needs to pay for the features of inserting the audios. No, that is embedded within the software. You can do that for free. Did these students draw or get that illustration? They probably got the illustration from the internet. They may have drawn it on an iPad. I use my iPad. My son actually created a book for his teacher for a day of the teacher, and he wanted to draw a picture. My son's in preschool, so he's 4, and he wanted to draw a picture. So you're not going to find the pictures that he wanted. So I just gave him the Apple Pencil, and I gave him my iPad, and he drew right on there. And it's really nice if you have the pencil. I mean, you can still do it with your hand. My daughter does. She's 2 and she uses her hand for it. But it gets more detailed if you use the pencil. And you have so many creative tools when you open up the pencil, because then you have the different colors, the different brushes, and all those different creative things. Students can really get into the drawing aspect of Book Creator. And my kids think it's a drawing application. They don't realize it's an actual development of a book. So it's a really nice way. Thank you, Minhee, for doing that. I appreciate that. I get all excited and I just keep going. Okay, so for the free version, Book Creator will allow you to create 40 books for free. 40 books for free, and then you get a free, what they call a library, and you can have as many students in your library as you want. as many students in your library. So what then you could do is you can create your 40 books and say you're creating all these different samples, and then year 1, you have 36 students. Year 2, you have another 36 students. Year 3, and all the students from year 1 until year 10 can all be a part of your library, and it will never charge you for it. You will all be a part. But the thing is, you will only get one library. That's the key, is you will only get one library. For the free version, you're not able to collaborate, which means kids cannot work on books together. So they can read each other's books by sharing links and so forth, but they're not able to get onto the same book like a Google Docs, like a Google Slides or a Google things where they can work together. We get so used to the Google tools that we forget that that's not something that everybody has. So that's one thing that you can have is this is what happens when you're in a dashboard here on this side. You see your book and your library, right? And then if somebody shares a library with you, if I'm a student in Corey's Cool Books class, I get to see his books, and so on, and a network like that. So we can share libraries that way. And that way you're sharing the library, meaning you're not publishing the book to the web. You're only sharing the library so that only the people that are in your library can read that book. And that's for the safety of your students, especially if they have pictures of themselves on there, so that it stays within your network. Okay, so let's take a look at what it looks like. So I've logged in. I use my Google login because I have my Google education account. So I went to bookcreator.com. Here's an empty book that I have in mine. If you go to this side right here, you can see I have 2 of 60 books. Like I said, we got the free version of it, so we were able to get some. Here are my libraries, right? And then this was my library that we had at school, so at Garden Grove, and then my personal library. So I'm gonna go back to this book. Here's my book. I'm just gonna create a book. Actually, let's create a new book from scratch. Up here in the corner, you see where my mouse is, up here in the corner, new book. I would like to make my book a portrait to make it look like a real book. Now, if you wanted, you can go ahead and add these little landscapes and these little grids, kind of like a comic book. You can put those in there if you want, but I will show you. I'm going to go with the blank one so I can show you how to add those, because you can add those later too. So here's my book, and this is the cover. And the way I add things is up at the top here. There's a plus, an I, and a play. So the plus means adding media, adding things to it. The I is to change, it's the information, it's like formatting, right? So information about it. And the play is reading, okay? So I'm going to add, if I wanted to add a document, maybe I could add a PDF. If I wanted to add a picture from my camera, if I wanted to activate my pen on my iPad, I could do that. If I wanted to add a text box, if I wanted to add that record feature. Earlier, Jasmine, you asked about the record feature. This is it right here. Once you add that, then it'll add a little button there. Or if I click over to shapes here, I can add all these shapes, okay? So what I'm going to do is I am going to take a picture of myself. I wonder if it'll let me do this. Oh, it will let me do this. Here we go. There I am. I guess that will work. And there's my picture. I love doing demos. Can you tell? I do this a lot. And so hopefully it won't take too long. Okay, there we go. There's my wonderful, beautiful picture. Oh my goodness. Now you know why I have a virtual background, right? I'm covering all this madness. Okay, so now I have my media. Maybe I want to add a little bit of text. Hello. Maybe I want to make that text bold, okay? And then done. There's my text right there. Now, that seems very boring. Let's add some more fun things, right? So I'm going to click on my picture. I'm going to go to the info, the I, right? That's the inspector is what they call it, inspector. And I'm going to click on that, and I can change all sorts of things. I can change the image and make it a hyperlink. I can change and have a text, an alternative text for image. Now, the reason why you'd want to do this is for accessibility purposes. For students who are using the device and need to activate accessibility, they won't be able to see the image, but they'll be able to hear the text for that image. So you would type something like text, picture of Mrs. Wren. You can move things back and forth. Also, on the page, if I wanted to, I can change the page. I can make the page background this nice, beautiful coral color. This was one of my favorites. I go down here to this category right here. I can make all these cool comic book shapes, right? The kids love this. Kids love this. I could do, I personally like this. My music teachers love the music. My math teachers love the grid. I like the dots, smaller dots if you want to get even closer. There's also just borders. This is the one we used for my son's Day of the Teacher present. We used that one for my son. We could make a little invitation, a party invitation. We can make it science themed. Patterns, that's always nice. We can make it Toy Story themed. I don't know if I get in trouble from Disney for mentioning that. Okay, here, let's go with one of these watercolors and we'll leave it at that. And then now I like what I have here. I think I'm going to add more. I'm going to add now a shape and I'm going to make myself, oh, you know what I'm going to do is I'm going to make myself think. So go to the shapes and add this little speech bubble. I can make it smaller. I can even move this where I wanted to. And I'll move this guy right on top of it. Uh-oh, he's behind it. So now I have to go to position and I have to move this to the back. There we go. Oops. Have to move this guy. So do you see how someone could play around with this and get to what they want to get with? And I know, and I get this all the time. This is amazing. I just need time. I need time to play. And I promise you, I will give you that time to go in and play around, okay? But for the most part, that's really how it works, is you go in and you add something and you customize it. Then you go to the next page and say, I want to add, where is my layout? There was a layout. Trying to find the layout for, oh, borders. No, that wasn't it. I'm to find those frames for the comic book frames again to see if I can find those. But I will find those and bring them back to you. I can't remember where it is. Import? No, shapes. I know. I'll find them and then I'll bring it back to you. But you can put the comic layout in there. And it's a really nice way of just kind of building your work to make it fit the way you want it to fit. Oh, let's see audio. So record. 3, 2, 1. This is me recording. I am recording audio. I'm going to test it out. This is me recording. I am recording audio. And then if you wanted to use your own language, you could do that too, but here's a little button. I'm going to put that there. You can move things around. You can add a transcript. This is what the little button looks like. They recently changed the button. Okay, so there's the basics of Book Creator. And what I did in my presentation is I included all the little tools and the doohickeys so that you can go back and you can look through my presentation if you're looking for, how did she add this again? How did she add that again? So you can go back through. When you click on the little plus, you get all these the media and the shapes. When you click on the little I, you get to format. This is what happens when you format the text. I never actually got to show you that and format the page. Let me take a look at that. I'll go back to this page. If my font is too boring, I can click on the inspector and I can change the font. I can make it bigger. I can change the font to something more fun. Hello. I can change the color. I can even add a different color if I wanted to. Okay, I can add a shadow to it. I mean, really fun ways to customize and allow students to get creative. So I have a question here about the beginning levels of language learners, students who are just beginning. I have a project for you. At the end of this presentation, you'll be able to see some of the projects that you can see that you can do with Book Creator for students who are just starting in language learning. So it'll be a really good way of being able to see that. All right. Once you've created your book, how do you read it? Now, the beauty of words is that the beauty of book creator is that it will read the book to you. So if you create a book for your students, then it will read it to you. So I'm going to go here and I'm going to click on the little play button and I will have it read to me.
Hello.
Okay. This is me recording. I am recording audio.
You've reached the end of the book, Read Again, made with Book Creator. You've reached.
So that's a very scary sounding guy. But if I wanted to speed him up, make him sound like a chipmunk, I could. I have Alex, who was reading in English, and I mean, I could probably find a different no, I guess English. Here we go. We could do here. Let's do Fred from the United States. Maybe he'll be better. And then it will highlight words as it's reading it. It will turn the pages automatically. Can I speed it up at all? I don't think I can. Oh, there we go. It's either really fast, right in the middle, or really slow, which is good for our learners, right? If they're brand new and they want things to slow down a bit, you could slow down the speed. You can put it, I'm going to put it at the just right, and hopefully this works a little bit better. All right, let's read it again. Let's go back to the beginning.
Hello.
Now this is me recording. I am recording audio. So really easy way to read it to you. So if you're creating a book for your students to read, say you have lessons that you want to create for them, this is where you would do it and add when the students open it up in Book Creator, it will read it to them. You can add your own voice. I tried to do a French lesson with a French speaker, and that did not work well. So it ended up really odd because I wrote the sentences in French, and the person who was speaking French, it sounded like French, but it just didn't sound authentic. So if you want to use a language that you teach, it might be best to record your own voice so the students hear your own voice for proper pronunciation and so forth. Because I tried to record words and written in French, and then I pressed the French speaker and it still didn't come out the way I had hoped it would come out. So it's still a person who speaks English with a French accent trying to speak French. So it didn't work out very well. So I think if you want to demonstrate good pronunciation, you have to do it yourself because nobody knows better than someone who is a speaker of the language. So that's how you would read the book. Really easy. You just click read to me and it will start reading. And then the settings here, you can turn the settings to where it will automatically turn the pages. You have a different series of voices that you can use. Obviously, we saw that. Highlight words is really good. My son uses that to learn how to read. And when you use the highlight words features, if the kids know, say it's a poem, they know the poem, they've heard the poem before, but they've never actually seen the words before. If it highlights the words, then they'll see the word and hear the pronunciation at the same time. So it's a great way of making that connection between seeing the words and making that voice. And then also if you have recorded assets connected to the pages, then you will be able to, it'll play the multimedia for you. This is one where if you wanted to, you can publish it online. So you could, if you make a book that is so incredibly amazing, you could publish it online and let everybody in the world read it. But keep in mind that a lot of this stuff, if the students decide to import media, they have to be able to use the correct media that has permission, that is copyright free. You can download as an ebook or you can print. Now, if you print your books, you lose all of the sound and the videos and all that stuff. So if you print it, you're just going to get a static copy of it. So maybe download it as an ebook and then you can open it in like Apple Books that way, or you can open it in Google Drive to be able to read it. But that's the best way to download it. The best thing to do though is to keep it in Book Creator and read it on Book Creator, because then you get all the neat little tools that goes with it. Okay, I'm going to stop here, give you guys just a few minutes to kind of gather your thoughts, write notes, and if you have any questions to kind of throw them in the chat tool before I move on, because the next part of my presentation really talks about adding students to your class and being able to show them the books that you create and how you can get them all started. Okay, so how do you add students? When you go to bookcreator.com, and this actually is the confusing part for some of our teachers. this is what it'll look like. And what they do is they have the student sign in tab first, because they're thinking more students than teachers are going to head here. So they have the student sign in tab open so that students can, they can sign in with whatever they need. Maria, give me 2 seconds and I will answer that question, okay? And then students in our district have a district Google account. So they have so they just sign in with Google, and that works really well for them. Some districts use Microsoft, so they sign in with Microsoft. It's nice to have a district account because then it's free, and sometimes the district may have other features that you don't even know about. If you have young students and they don't have an email or the email is just too hard for them to use, you can always create this little QR code. In remote learning, instead of a QR code, you can give them the link, and each student has a different link so that when they log in, they can use that special link to get into their account without having to use an email or a sign in. But when you're back in the classroom, if the students are younger and they can't deal with the email, there's a QR code here. You would just print out like a little card and they would hold it up and they would sign in and they'd go right in. So it's a really nice way for students. Once they're in, if you set up the account, then you share the library code. Earlier I showed you there was a library, there's a code, and you just share that code and they can come into your library and take a look at your library. So Maria asked, what are the options once you've reached your limit? If you hit your 40 book limit, you have to delete. So what I would do is I would download it. I would download it as an ebook and then delete it. And then you're at the point now where you can create new ones and you can read it in iBook iBook. Awesome. Can I email the QR code to your students? You could email them to your students. It might be easier to send them a link, because if you create the QR code, it also creates a link. So if you're going to send the link, you might as well just, that way they can just click on the link from their computer when they open the email. Or if you send the QR code, maybe they want to use their iPad and they can just hold the iPad up to the email and they can sign in with that. No, with the link, they can sign in with just the link, the special one. There's a special link that you have to create. And I can show you how to do that now. I just got done creating it for my students at UCI. So I can show you how to do it for younger students if anybody's interested in looking at that. So maybe I'll do that right now because we have a breaking point. So I'm going to go in here, go back to my books. I don't think I have, oh, here we go. I do have an education. I don't know how I got the 100. Oh, you know what? I don't know how I have the 180 book plan. This is my personal account. I have no idea how if you guys want some of my books, you can have some of my books. I don't know if I'm ever going to create 180 books. So here's the student logins. You click on your picture right here and you can see the student logins. And then I would just type in names. So I'm going to go down the list here. Minhee is going to have a book. And Erin is going to have a book. Eugenia is going to have a book. And then I'm going to stop right there. And you can do more if you want, right? So I'm just going to stop right there. You can add students later. They're going to get my demo library because that's the only library I have. I don't have any books in there right now, but that's what they're going to get. And so I'm going to click on next. So here, this is the badges I was talking about. Remember, I don't think you're going to be able to see this because I'm not sharing that window. But if you click here, it'll just print a code, and you just cut it out of the paper, and the kids will hold it up, and it'll log them right in. But because we are all in remote, you want to give them this link, this little link right here. This is a special URL that takes the student to their book, their account. There's no login or anything. They just go straight into their account, which is great. That's what you want. And so it's special and unique. But then if they lose it or that code goes to somebody else, or they, like at school, they lose that piece of paper and it falls on the floor and another kid picks it up, any kid can get into that student's book. So we just have to remember that as we're managing our student logins. You should keep them. If you're in school, like in-person learning, you should keep these because there is no security with these, and kids can get in there and delete books, and that would just make other kids very sad. That's why the emails are always great, but if your kids are younger, then use these ones. Okay, so are you guys ready to try it out? You've been sitting here listening to me for 40 minutes. I appreciate you for that. When you go in, remember I told you that when you log into bookcreator.com, it's actually going to show you this screen. It's going to show you the student sign in. You have to click over here. If you click over here on this side, it should click on teacher sign in. Okay, this side, the other side. So you get to choose whether you want to create. Now you have to learn how to use your email. So you have to create your account. Either, I always use Google. I have 1,000 Google accounts. So I just click sign in with Google, and then I remember my Google password. If you use Office 365 at your school, or you can just use an email and make up a password. If you do that, you have to remember your password so you can get back in. But this is how you create your teacher account, okay? So everyone, I'm gonna have you go to bookcreator.com. Let's try, I'm gonna throw this link into the chat window here. If you don't wanna type, you're welcome to go just to that. And then if you want, you can, when you're setting up, it's gonna ask you for your grade level, your subjects. It doesn't really matter. You can just click through what you need to click through. Because I don't have a classroom anymore, I just used my old classroom data. And then you have to name your first library. I named it Demo Library, even though I didn't do anything with it, I just named it Demo Library. And then now that your account's all created, come back to my presentation because I have some free books for you. These are activity books. The Book Creator Big Activity Book. And these activity books, and this is what I was talking to earlier about our younger readers. When you click on here, on my slideshow, on slide 15, you'll get a link. And this link will take you to make a copy of this really cool activity book. And when you go into this activity book, it will ask you to do a bunch of different things. So when you're in there, let's turn to page 2 and look, here's hello. Take a photo of something you find beautiful, explain your choice. Well, you know what? I just got this mug from Disneyland. I'm going to take a photo of this mug. It was from the Chinese New Year. It was on clearance, so I'm not gonna lie there. I'm gonna go ahead and go into media, take a picture of it. And there it is, okay? And I'm gonna use that picture. And now I'm going to explain my choice. Oh, that's really big. So we just make that small there. And then I'm going to explain my choice. I'm gonna add a text box. I got this mug on sale at the Disney store. All right, there we go. And then I'm gonna put that here. And there, I have just learned how to use the camera. I've just learned how to use the text. Now, if I wanna get fancy or have extra time, I can go to the inspector and change all these other things, right? Ooh, that's too big. Let's change the font and let's change the color. And then I can go here to the inspector. There's really not much I can do with this. But this is a great way. So that's one activity. Here's another activity. Unscramble the letters, and you'll notice that the letters are all individual, so you can move the letters around, and you can unscramble them and move them around, right? These are activities that kids can do that are low risk, very easy. They can even be the templates for your activities if you want them to be. And it allows kids to learn the features of Book Creator as they are playing. They think they're playing, but they're actually learning how to use Book Creator. So on my presentation on slide 15, there are 4 links. This first one is in English. The second one is in French. This third one is in Spanish. And this last one is in Chinese. I don't have a Vietnamese one. I know we have a dual immersion Vietnamese program in our district. So if I could somehow get an amazing Vietnamese teacher to translate this, I would do that. But unfortunately, these are the languages I have here. So when you click on the picture of the book, a link will show up at the bottom, and you can get your very own copy of this Book Creator book with 50 different activities. It's a really nice way of really getting to know Book Creator, okay? So that's on slide 15. So now I'm going to give you time to explore, just a few minutes though, because 5 minutes seems like a lifetime when I'm just sitting here waiting. But I know it's not long enough for you because I know you need more time than that. So you can finish your activity book, which is on slide 15. You can explore all those libraries, the language library that we had talked about earlier. oh, this is the language library. Or you can explore all this. I think this is the library of classroom resources from Book Creator. So lots of things for you to explore and do. Minhee and I talked last week. We have found that the most effective use for your time is for me to give you a million resources. And then I sit here and I chat with you privately about tips and so forth. And then you guys just kind of explore and click away. And I'm here for you if you, you need help. So go ahead and take a look around for a little bit, and create your account, really create your account and get in there and start playing, because we all know, especially those of you who have been with me for these past few webinars, if you're not trying it, you're not going to be able to learn it, and you will never have time to come back. I promise. Once school starts, things start going and you will never come back to it. This is your opportunity to try. And I'm here if you get stuck. So I'm going to stop talking. I'm going to head to the chat if I have some private chats, and then let me know if you need help. Okay, I know that was only 3 minutes, but it still felt like a lifetime for me. I'm sure you guys are still clicking away. Please continue to click away. Please continue to click away. I just wanted to end really quickly with one quote, and what I think is just why our students find activities like this so fun, because it is. Creativity is intelligence having fun, right? And so it's a way for us to really enjoy, and our students love it. Our students love being able to be creative, because we never do it anymore. We don't have an opportunity to do it. So if we give them these opportunities, then they will enjoy their projects a lot more. I'm going to go ahead and end it. By all means, please continue to click away and test things. My email, my Twitter handle are up here. If you need access to them, they're on the presentation. And then of course, Minhee has all of my other recorded webinars. And then Minhee, if you want, I'm gonna go ahead and stop sharing so you can share.
Thank you, Hue-An. If you have questions, please continue using the chat. As Hue-An mentioned, I wanted to actually, let me share my screen. I wanted to show you where you can access the previous webinar recordings. I realized last time I mentioned it, but I didn't share my screen, so you didn't get to see my screen and exactly where to go on our website. So let me click on here. Our website has all of the resources from our previous professional development workshops and webinars. We have a distance learning tab, and this is where all the different webinar series materials are. So we have the educational technology one, but as you are aware, we have different webinar series for specific languages. So here, if you go to educational technology, here's Hue-An. We have all the recordings, the webinar recordings. If you scroll down a little bit, this chart has information on all the webinars for the educational technology series. So starting from the first one, the slides, the PowerPoint slides, and also the webinar recordings that have been uploaded on our YouTube channel. You can rewatch them. If there's someone who is interested but couldn't make it, you can also share this link. So the slides and recordings for all the webinars, and for our future ones too, they'll be all uploaded here. So I just wanted to point this out so that you know where to access the materials. And of course, we have 2 more webinars on fostering creativity with multimedia projects. Next week is Adobe Spark. And then 2 weeks later, July 9th, is our last webinar on Apple Clips. Again, new Zoom link will be sent for each webinar the day before on Wednesday. And past webinar materials, I just showed you this, are available here. And I will share this link in the chat. Webinar feedback. Please spend 2-3 minutes to share your feedback. Let me share that right now, actually. Your feedback is really, really important as it will help us plan our next series of webinars. So that first link is the feedback form. Please go to the link and share your thoughts. And I also wanted to let you know of different online workshops and professional development events happening at different centers at Cal State University Fullerton. The Center for Creativity and Critical Thinking is offering online art workshops and also professional development learning series, and they offer CEU credits. And lastly, if you're interested, we offer different programs at the College of Education, credential programs, master's programs, and doctoral programs. So there you are. That's it from us. Any last words, Hue-An? Or are you still getting questions?
You know what? I'm done with the questions. There was a question in the chat box about how long the recordings and the materials will be on the website.
Oh, how long?
Mm-hmm.
Forever.
Forever.
as long as
forever.
Unless there's some new technology that overtakes the internet, we will leave it there for people to use. There's no expiration date.
So there you go.
Okay. Are we done with questions? Or
yeah, I'm finished with my chats. Mm-hmm.
All right, then. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining us. And we'll see you next week for Adobe Spark. And thank you, Hue-An, for your presentation. All right.
Thank you. Bye.
Stay safe and be well, everyone. Bye.